Welcome to another Jamwriter Nugget. Bite-sized chunks of wisdom for your writing and publishing journey from Jamwriter authors. From manuscript to market and beyond. Today, our authors will be talking about the benefits of communicating with other authors during the writing process.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like the indie author world has been completely supportive in that because we're all sort of thrown in this together. And, nobody ever tells you before you start writing that marketing is about 90% of the work. And,
Yes.
getting the story down is about 10%. And even that can be very difficult when you do come across writer's block or you're just not sure how to make something work. And I feel like anytime that I've reached out to different authors and made several friendships, they've been extremely helpful in guiding me along.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't actually, interestingly enough, I don't really associate with a lot of other writers. I do belong to writers groups, and much like I'm sure you do.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's how we met, was through a writers group.
Yeah.
And, I do read what they have to say. I belong to a Goodreads as well, and Book Club, and I do a few other Instagram and that, and I kind of try to keep a sort of an eye and an ear as to what other authors are doing. But it's a little overwhelming because everybody has their own struggle, to try to find what it is they want to say or how they want to get it down on paper. And there's a lot of different approaches, as you know, to the writing prospect, right? So
yeah.
You can get caught up in all that and start feeling a little overwhelmed by it even, right?
I suppose work-wise, not exactly. I've always done my own research and note-taking and everything. I do have a few friends who are writers, and I think it's really useful to have that just for various reasons, just in terms of contacts, in terms of opportunities, people letting you know what's going on. In terms of checking things, before you submit a really important piece or something, just to have another writer friend who can just look through it quickly and give you some feedback. I think that's really, really useful.
Yes, I think in general, I don't have a writing partner like a lot of people do. I don't have a mentor. I don't have a coach. But I do have a very dear friend that's in the industry. And when I started writing Opening Act, I sent her the first 2 or 3 chapters and I said, do I keep going? Is this worth anything? She reads literally hundreds of books a year for what she does. So she has a wide exposure of styles and what's good, what isn't, what flows, what doesn't. Yeah. And she wrote me back almost immediately and said, please keep going. This is absolutely delightful. This is really well written. And that was kind of the boost that I needed.
I have to say that I didn't, because I didn't know any other writers. Okay. I was alone in the world. That's probably why I got a bit of writer's block from time to time.
I just came out of a ghostwriting assignment where, we had a writer's room. I'm definitely staying in touch with other writers I met on there. We have similar interests. We keep sending stuff back and forth, opportunities, pitches, job opportunities, or we keep sending each other material. I'm part of a premium, a paid online community. It used to be called Compound Writing. Now I think they renamed themselves.
Okay.
Which is both that they organize online events at the moment where they have guest speakers. Can be nonfiction content writing, it can be fiction writing, or productivity tips. And they have a workflow. It's a Slack community mostly, so you can pitch ideas, you can pitch drafts, or show a manuscript, or show a link to a published piece, gather feedback from other writers, and that can be really helpful.
I'd like to, I'd like to talk to other writers about my story and where it would go, and any problems I might have. The problem is, I've done it with a few friends who are sort of in the business, but it's really hard without them knowing the in-depthness of your story and your characters.
Yeah.
So you can only ever really talk about the problems you're facing in the most vague of terms. And even then you find yourself explaining, well, yeah, but that happens and that might happen. And don't forget about that. All those things that are sort of in your head or in your notes, you can't relay that to a person or a group.
I do not. Once I'm in it, I need to bury myself. I need to avoid that conversation. I find that distracting, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I suppose if I did have problems with that, then I would want to talk to somebody about it. But my problems I know how to solve so far, like children being noisy. Yeah, I know how to solve that one.
Yes.
It's just not always possible.
I mean, just to before we move on, I did say earlier on that I had no contact with other writers. It's not strictly true. Through my daughter, I know of a chap who has written a book, and he's from the UK, and he had it successfully published by Collins. He's an ex-journalist. He knew all the contacts. And when I talked to him about it, he said, this is what I've been through, this terribly difficult task of, coming from nowhere and hoping to get a reasonable response from it. He said, you won't get anywhere. He says, I knew all the people. He says, I've been in the business. I was able to go straight to a publisher. I didn't bother the literary agent. So it's the old story, isn't it, about who you know.
As for the mechanics of writing a book, rather than the creativity and the actual writing, there's been a number of writers that have helped me with different things as far as just little tips on layout and publishing and marketing and that kind of thing. I'm with several different writers groups in Twitter, and we are all at various stages of that road and that journey. And some of them are quite accomplished and basically have an answer for any questions somebody might have.
Well, I'll tell you, my groups of author compadres are my lifeline, because to self-publish basically means that you're doing 14 different hats worth of types of work, and you may only know how to write. And so being able to have a couple of different options of people to reach into to ask questions and find out how they handled something, or if anybody else has seen this, is really great. I am in a group of women that worked with a marketer called Narelle Todd. She's based out of Australia, and her organization is called Get My Book Out There. And after we all completed her classes, we all stuck together. We formed our own Facebook group. We talk about how to do advertising. We talk about how we're going to handle, slow releases or fast releases and everything under the sun. And it's like having my own private library that's very specific to how to get a book out and not belly flop on it, because you still do. I mean, they change the rules all the time. You're running ads, they're scoring like crazy, and nobody's buying.
Right.
Or you've got a great cover artist, but she's had a baby and she's not around anymore, and everybody else you're looking at isn't going to capture what you need. Well, who are you using? Mm-hmm. That kind of give and take of information is invaluable to trying to understand that the only way you can be successful as an independent officer is if you decide, or independent publisher is if you decide you are going to wear those 14 hats and learn how to do it. And that kind of group think is invaluable.